Welcome to another episode of 50 Shades of Shilamida with your hostess, me, Shilamida. I am really excited to talk to you guys today about manifesting and having it all and living the life of your dreams. It has been the theme of this month. The guests that I have been bringing on for you range in millionaires from their early 20s into their later years, people who have been manifesting on such a high level. And I thought I would share some manifesting stories with you today. This morning, as I was driving, it occurred to me that the secret to manifesting, there are secrets to manifesting, and they're not really secrets because they're known to a lot of people. It's the missing piece of whether or not you're living out your every desire or if you're just getting little droplets, right? I am in the midst of reading a series of books, and in the books it says once you start manifesting faster, it's because you become a master. So I consider myself to be a master manifester. I considered myself that before the book told me that, but it's always nice to get a little reassurance of the thoughts that you think of yourself. But I've really been learning about manifesting for the last 15 years and maybe longer. And I've been putting it into action. And of course, 15 years ago, the manifestations were far and few between. Things would happen. They would seem like total magic. Fast forward 15 years later, they still seem like total magic. It's still happening at lightning speed and in a way that I never thought was possible for me, because we have all of these beliefs in our systems that tell us that we're not supposed to be rich, we're not supposed to be beautiful, we're not supposed to be skinny, we're not supposed to be successful, we're not supposed to, says who, right? Where do these stories actually come from? Part of my makeup and design, I'm a projector in human design, for those of you that know about that. And if you don't, I highly suggest you go back and listen to some of my guests from last month and previous months that have spoken about human design, because it's completely life-changing. And so as a projector in human design, my state of knowing that I'm in alignment is when I have success. And for some reason, I've always equated success with financial gain and money. Like, how much money am I worth? That's how successful I am. But in these latter years of my life, in the last 2 to 3 years, I realized how much deeper being rich or being wealthy really is. It's not about the money that you have, because if the money comes and you're not emotionally intelligent for it, it's going to go and it's going to drive you crazy, and it's going to create even more stories than what you're used to. So I'm super grateful that things happen the way that they did for me, and that I've taken this moment in my life to really slow down, which is so hard for me, by the way, because I'm used to hustling and I'm used to working. And my husband is a generator, and we've lived together for the last 10 years. And so when you learn about human design, when you have open centers and you're around somebody who fills those centers, their centers are filled and yours aren't, you make a match. So when you put my chart, my husband's charts together, it's like we complete each other literally. And so we start to operate and feed off of other people. So for many, many years, I fed off of his generator. And, when I first started learning about all this human design stuff, I thought that it was nuts. Like, somebody told me to take a nap, and I was like, are you crazy? Like, I don't nap. I don't stop my day. I see 16 patients in a day. There's no stopping for me, right? That's when I had my acupuncture practice, for those of you that are new to my world. But what I realized the secret is you have the thought, you have the feeling. The feeling is a really important part of the puzzle, right? Because a lot of people think things, but they don't actually feel them, right? So that's one secret. So you have the thought, you have the feeling, you believe that it's going to happen for you. And then the real secret is that you detach yourself from the outcome. So what does that mean? So a lot of times what I find people are doing in their manifestations is every single day they're grateful for the same exact thing, right? I'm grateful that I'm a millionaire. I'm grateful that I'm rich. I'm grateful that I can pay my bills. I'm grateful that, rent is paid. And it's okay to be grateful for those things, right? But in everyday life, we're not necessarily grateful for the same things every single day, right? You're not grateful that you have electricity every day. You're not grateful that you have heat or air conditioning every day. You're not grateful for your bed every day. Some people are. I'm not saying that people aren't, but most people aren't. The things that we're used to, we don't really bring them to the forefront of gratitude. So I really recently manifested a new car, and I haven't released the new car to the public yet because technically it's not my car, it's my husband's car, and he's not ready to release it to the public yet, but somehow it's become my car. And this is a perfect example of detaching yourself from the outcome. For many, many years, my husband's assistant wanted me to get a luxury vehicle. Mercedes, Lexus, didn't matter. He just wanted me in a luxury vehicle. And I'm the kind of girl that used to drive a Volkswagen Beetle with the sunflower in the dashboard, right? And then I got pregnant with my son. I gained 100 pounds, and the Volkswagen Beetle was not quite up to par. So I ended up getting a Hyundai Tucson, which I loved. And when Ben and I met, I think, I drove that car for like 5 years or whatever, and I sold it. And then I ended up getting a Buick Enclave. Not because the luxury vehicles weren't beautiful, they were. And not that a Buick Enclave is not a luxury vehicle, it is. I had a nostalgia thing with Buicks because my dad always drove one, and I kept seeing these trucks on the road, and they kept like getting my eye. I ended up manifesting a Buick Enclave for $330 a month because that's what I was paying for my Hyundai. And if you know anything about Enclaves, they're much more expensive, but put it out there in the universe that I was going to get the car that I desired at $330 a month. And wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what happened. And from the Buick Enclave, I went finally to a Mercedes dealer and a Lexus dealer. And at the time I had 2 kids in a stroller. I think they were 3 and 2 at the time. And I was like, these cars aren't big enough. They were just as big as my Enclave, and I needed a monster truck. That's what I felt like I needed to transport the strollers, to transport all the things that I needed. So I ended up at the GMC dealer, and I saw a Denali truck sitting on the floor. And I was like, I want to drive that. And my husband looked at me and he was like, you want to drive that? I was like, I need the biggest car that I can get. And if I can park that thing, that's the car that I want. So we took it for a test drive, and I fell in love. And then we went to negotiate the car, and I almost lost it because my $330 a month was no longer. I put no intention into the new car and what I was going to pay for it. And at that point, my husband told me to leave. And I'm like, why am I leaving? And he's like, because I'm going to pay for this car and you don't have to worry about it. So that was great. And so for all these years, that was it. I drove that car. And then when it was time to give up that car, the recession started going bad, things started happening. And my husband went, he got me a Suburban. And I hate the Suburban. I love it because it gets me from point A to point B. I'm very grateful for it. I'm very grateful that I have a vehicle, all the things. But when it comes down to it, I don't love the vehicle. Okay. Somebody posted in one of my groups this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful luxury vehicle in the Mercedes brand. And she posted it for our mentor because it was totally on brand for her. It was white leather interior with brown accents. And our mentor is very natural in colors and all the things. And in the back seat, there was a tea set. And so I took these pictures and I sent them to the office. And I was like, I finally found a quote unquote, and I say quote unquote because I realized that the other cars that I drove were luxury vehicles for some people, but I didn't choose them because they were a luxury vehicle. I chose them out of convenience. So I sent the car over and I said, this is the vehicle that I desire. And I smile when I say it. For those of you that are listening, that are not watching, I have this big smile on my face because when I sent that vehicle over, I had an idea that it was probably pretty expensive. And so I sent it. I was grateful for it. I felt myself in that car. Like it was the first time that I felt myself inside a vehicle, sitting in the back, drinking tea from the tea set, right? And then I detached myself from the outcome because in my mind and in my life, I didn't think that that car was coming anytime soon, right? Like that, it's not a practical vehicle for a baseball mom or, for a mom with little kids who poop in the car, right? Which my kids just poop all over the car. Not literally, but you get what I mean. And so, every so often, like I would think of the car and a smile would come across my face. Fast forward to this past January, I taught a vision masterclass. And in the masterclass, we did a vision boards. And so I had put a different car on that vision board. And the car that I put on that vision board was a Bentley, which I don't even know much about Bentleys, to be honest with you. But since I met my husband, the one thing that he said to me is, one day I want to have a Bentley with a driver. And so my intention with putting that on my vision board was that I would make enough money so that I could surprise my husband, not only with the vehicle, but with the vehicle and a driver, so that I could fulfill his manifestation as he's helped me fulfill so many of mine. And so a few weeks ago, we went to lunch and his car has been on the fritz. Like, we keep getting loaners because they can't figure out what's wrong with it. And he says to me, I'm going to Bentley tomorrow. And I was like, what? I'm like, you're going to Bentley tomorrow? And he's like, well, I need a new car and I just have this pull. And so he has no idea that this vision board exists and that I put this car on the vision board. And I was like, it was so bizarre and shocking, like magic, right? Like, where did this come from? And what happens is when you put something out there in the universe as your desire, the universe starts to move things around to bring you your desire. So if you stay in alignment and you stay on track and you continue to do the healing work and you continue to do your gratitude work and you continue to be a good person, eventually every single thing that you put out into the universe comes to you. And so what I've noticed is the things that I've detached myself from, right? They come to me faster. And I'm sure that I've known this for a long time, but it's only recently that I've really made this connection that things have manifested. And I'm like, oh my God, I've only put that out there like once, because that's all it takes. It's all it takes is that one time that you believe so deeply in the core of your being that you're worth it, that you deserve it, and that you are it, you are going to have it or be it. All you need to know is that you need to be patient along the way. And so he sends me a car a couple days later, and I'm like, is that a Bentley? And he was like, no, it's actually a Mercedes. And we went to Puerto Rico a few weeks ago, and in the car service, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and he's like, fuck it, I'm doing it. And I'm like, you're doing what? And he's like, I'm getting you the car that you desire. And so the following week, he went and he picked up my new car, and I called him and I said, I just want to know, is there a tea set in the back? And please tell me you didn't get white interior. He was like, I did not get white interior. And I've got one even better for you. There's not a tea set in the back, but there is a champagne cooler. So if anybody knows me, they know that I love my bubbly. I love champagne. I have always wanted to have a refrigerator in the car. I keep saying I don't understand why cars don't come with refrigerators, right? And now I am driving the most amazing, incredible vehicle of all time. I've never loved a vehicle. I've never had any kind of like car attachment or like this desire to, have a beautiful car, because I just never thought it was necessary. And so I've reached a point in my life where it's not about being necessary. It's about your desire, because most things in life are not necessary. And so when the car came home, I have to be honest with you, I couldn't even enjoy it, because all of this guilt and all of this shame started washing over me. Like, we could have done so many things with that money. We could have, saved the world. Not really, but, just all of these thoughts start creeping in. And this is part of the work that people don't talk about, right? Like, everybody thinks, oh, I'm going to become a millionaire and my life is going to be hunky dory and everything is just going to be okay and work and I'm not going to have to worry. But that's not the way that life works at all. And that's not the way that manifesting works. And it's not the way that you're going to attract things, because once you attract things, then you have to do the work to expand yourself to be able to attract more things. Right. And I'm not even talking about physical things. This is even on a emotional, mental, spiritual level. Like if you're manifesting not having anxiety, or if you're manifesting a healthy body, or if you're manifesting, right, anything that you're manifesting, it's not just about the thing. I don't want you to just think of like the material thing. So there was a lot of work that needed to be done even after the car has arrived here. And so my husband has still not taken the vehicle to work. So it's my vehicle. And there's many reasons for that, which we'll talk about at a different time. But for now, I just wanted to share this story because it's a great story of detachment. And I'll give you another manifesting detachment story that's a lot of fun. Many, many years ago, I wanted to go see Britney Spears in Las Vegas. My husband wanted nothing to do with going to Las Vegas. He was like, I am not leaving the kids to take you to Las Vegas. And I was like, please, no, I'm not taking you to Las Vegas. If we're going away, we're leaving the kids, we're going to the beach. Okay. So I said to him, you are taking me to Las Vegas to see Britney Spears. It's going to happen because I'm grateful for it. And I know that I deserve it. And I love it. And I'm grateful for it and whatever. And so every time I saw her or heard a song from her, I would be so grateful that I was sitting in the concert listening to her. And so one day he calls me and he's like, you. And I'm like, what? He was like, you and you're manifesting. He's like, I cannot. And I'm like, what? And he's like, check your email. And so I go to open up my email and he's like, you just got front row tickets to go see Britney Spears in Las Vegas. And I was like, what? How did this happen? Well, one of the companies that he does business with invited him to a trade show that he had to attend. And the trade show just so happened to be in, you guessed it, Las Vegas. And so Mama got to go see Britney Spears. Not only did I get to see Britney Spears, I got to see her front row. It was amazing. And that's another example of detachment, right? Wasn't something I was grateful for every night, wasn't something that I thought about all the time. It was something that I put out there in the universe with conviction. I felt myself there. Every time I heard a song or saw a commercial, I felt myself there. I believed it would happen for me, and it happened. And this is the way so many things have happened for me in my life. I can tell you time and time again, every single thing that has manifested for me. And I am a walking, living, breathing example of every one of your dreams can come true. No matter where you are in your life right now, no matter what kind of misery you're living through, no matter what kind of belief system you have, no matter what kind of abuse you've gone through, none of it matters. It doesn't matter if you're negative $50 in your bank account right now, because I know you're going to say to me, well, it's so easy for you. You have everything, or it's so easy for you because, you have the money, you have the body, you have the hair, you have the jewelry, like whatever. I've heard so many things over the years as to why I do the things that I do, but just know and understand that everything that I have right now is a manifestation. Literally 12 years ago on April 13th, I was in the shit of the shits. Like I had no idea that in 13 days, my whole entire life was about to change and shift, that everything that I was manifesting was about to come towards me fast. At the time, I was manifesting little. Every time I didn't have rent, I would be grateful for money and money would come in. Every time I needed something, I would be grateful for a new client or a new opportunity, and that would come in. So stuff just started to happen, and it was like far and few between, but it would happen. Now it happens all of the time because I get it. I understand it. I live, I breathe, and I eat it every single day. Every day I'm grateful. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not grateful. Every day my children are grateful. It's a practice. It's a being. It's a knowing. And in the time that I have now to slow down, I've really been connecting myself to the spiritual realm, because the reason why we live in a state of anxiety, in a state of panic, in a state of anger, in a state of sadness is because we're not connected. We're not connected to the ethers. We're not connected to God. We're not connected to source. We're not connected to the angels. We are doing life alone. We think that we're here alone, but we're not here alone. We have this this band of angels and guides and energies that are here to help us. They want to help us. Coming to Earth was not about suffering. We didn't come here to suffer, but most people live in suffering. I know it very well. I only stopped suffering very recently, and I've had it all for a long time. I just didn't realize it. I didn't know how to enjoy it. And I didn't give myself permission. And I did a wonderful podcast interview with Dimple Thurkar yesterday. It's going to air on April 28th. And Dimple talked about this permission. And people are like, well, why do I need permission? And you don't think that you do, but most people do need permission because from a small age, we're conditioned. We're conditioned to ask permission. Raise your hand to go to the bathroom. Eat lunch at a certain time. You can only go play at this hour. You got to go home and you got to do homework. And when you graduate from that, you got to go do more school. And when you're done with school, then you go to work from 9 to 5. You don't question anything. You do what you're told. You go home. You take one vacation a year because that's the only week that you have off. Sound familiar? That's not the way we were meant to live. It's not. And our whole purpose of being here is remembering who you are. We are God's creation. We are source universe. We are one with the creator, right? So I know that a lot of people who follow me have religious beliefs, and I have been engulfed in all of your religious beliefs recently. And there's some of it that I like, and there's some of it that's like super far-fetched, but I'm okay with it because my life is kind of super far-fetched. And then there's some of it that I just can't wrap myself around because I know what I know and I know it to be true because I'm living this magical life. I am magic on legs. I do create magic every day. I do create miracles in my home. I am a healer. I've watched people come off of meds. I've fixed broken bones. I've created life into people with people. So if you're telling me that there's only one dude who is this miracle maker of all time, that's not true. Because I know so many miracle makers in my everyday life. I know healers, I know psychics, I know people who are living eternal life. Like this is happening in our everyday life. And so you need to expand yourself. It's not that what you know is wrong. It's just that there's more. There's more to what you've been told. There's more to what you're feeling. You just have to be open to them, right? So the very first time that I heard all these things, I was like, no, no. If you hear my stories, I was given the law of attraction at 21 years old, 21, and I wasn't ready. I didn't know it. I didn't believe it. It couldn't be. That couldn't be true. No, because I created too many stories and I was living in my stories. It was easier to be a victim than it was to be like successful, right? Success is hard. People don't want success. And I'm at like this crossroad right now because I know that with like one push of an internal button and I am going to be a household name. It's already there. It's already done. This has been a manifestation for a long time in my life, right? But then there's the part of me that's like, well, if I become that successful, then what kind of mom am I going to be? What kind of wife am I going to be? And truth be told, that pre-COVID, I wasn't the best at those things because I was too preoccupied at creating my own wealth and becoming my own person, that I would choose work over my children. I would choose work over my husband. I would choose work over everything. And so during COVID, it forced me to slow down and to reconfigure my life and to give up my acupuncture practice. And then last year, in the year that I gave up my acupuncture practice, instead of enjoying the moment, I went and I jumped into a network marketing company. I went and I jumped into all of these ideas and opportunities, and there was no rest. I went from one hustle to the next hustle. And so now I created this whole calendar of events and things and all the things. And now I'm like, I don't think I want to do any of them. And it's not that I don't want to do any of them. I want to do all of them. It's that I want to be present for my children. I want to be an amazing partner for my husband. He doesn't need me to be a career woman right now. He needs me to be his wife, his trophy wife, but he needs me to be his wife. And my children need their mother. And I've never wanted to be needed this way. As a projector, I'm okay being alone, right? I like my time on stage when people clap for me and all the things, but then I hermit and I go into my room and I like to be alone. I don't like to be pulled in 25 different directions. I don't like to be at every baseball game. I don't like a lot of things, but these kids, they chose me. They chose me on this journey with them. They chose me to be their guide, and I want to be the best that I can be. And I don't want to have one foot out the door and one foot in the door. And so right now I decided that I'm going to take a break. And I don't know how long that's going to last because it's really hard for me. Every day I'm like looking for something to do, and there's 1,000 things I can do. There's a new book I can launch. There's an old book I can relaunch. There's an Audible that needs to go out. There's so many things that I can do. But I know that if I do the things and I push that internal button that I'm ready, I'm not going to be able to shut it off. And so instead of putting myself into a potential burnout situation, I'm just going to enjoy the moment. And I invite you to do the same. And I know that for some of you, you're still working, you still have to work, you still have to be a provider. I'm not telling you to go quit your job, but if something's been pulling you or fueling you, or, for many, many years, I knew that I needed to not be an acupuncturist. I was in total burnout. It was not the right profession for me, but my patients meant more to me than I meant to me. I couldn't leave them. And then COVID happened and they left me. And I could have survived. I still had enough of my practice to survive. But then New Jersey decided to cut acupuncture benefits and it changed the whole entire game. And after 10 years of practice, I would have had to rebuild an entire new practice. And could I have done it? Sure. But I was already done for many, many years. And so I just couldn't pull the cord and cut it. And so the universe did it for me. And that's the way it's going to work in your life time and time and time again. So if you are hoping and praying that your job changes, don't be surprised if you get fired or something happens that's going to detach you from that job, because it's going to happen eventually because you planted the seeds. Don't forget, we plant seeds. And when we detach ourselves from them, that's when the manifestation happens faster and faster. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I loved delivering it to you. I am super excited for all the shows that are coming out this month. For those of you that are new to the show, my name is Shilamida. Welcome to my page, to my life, to my wisdom. This is my life's work. It is my greatest desire that all of your wishes come true. I hope that everything that you see in this world that you want becomes yours. It makes me so happy when people around me manifest and are happy and awaken to the fact that we're supposed to be happy. If you're new here, you can find me all over the internet. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast station, you can also watch it on YouTube, which I highly suggest because I make some pretty funny face expressions. My YouTube channel is 50 Shades of Shilamida. My podcast is 50 Shades of Shilamida. My website is www.shilamida.com. It's SHILAMIDA. There is no E in my name, so just keep that in mind when spell check tries to correct you. I hang out on Instagram at 50 Shades of Shilamida. I also have a page called Goddess_of_gratitude. But if you want to see the behind the scenes, you'll come and find me at 50 Shades of Shilamida. On my Facebook, I hang out there a lot as well. You can find me as Shilamida Coopershane, which will at some point be changed to Friedman. I hope that you have the most magnificent day. I would be forever grateful if you could hit the share button and share the show with somebody that you know that would benefit from it. I would love it if you left me a comment. If you want to know the car that I am driving, I'm going to make you reach out to me and I will tell you what I am driving, and you will get to know before the world gets to know. And if there's anything else that you want to hear or see or be a guest on the show, reach out. Let me know. Every Wednesday and every Friday, there's a new show. I usually try to do one solo show a week, and then I have one guest a week. Every morning at 6 a.m., you'll find it live on your favorite podcast station. And in the evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, you will find the live recording. I love you. I hope that you have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Take this moment to be grateful right now. I'm grateful for the show. I'm grateful for my smile. I'm grateful for this beautiful day. I'm grateful that I have the most incredible audience of all time. I am grateful for the growth for myself and for everybody around me. And I am grateful for everything. Thanks. Bye.